Is my whole face in the frame? I feel like this was a pretty typical week of sales for 2024. A lot of bread and butter, a couple more exciting sales mixed in, a lot of like stale things that I'm just happy to sell through. Yeah, so if you want to see what a typical week of sales looks like for me as a part-time reseller, then stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park. I am a part-time reseller, like I said, which means that I do have a full-time job that does things like pay for my mortgage and bills and that sort of thing. And this side hustle that I have in reselling is something that I do on the side, and it's something that I do so that I can make money to pay for things like my kids' gymnastics, you know, to take my family on trips, that sort of thing. By the way, I just wanted to share this little story. I thought it was so funny. I spoke in front of our school's entrepreneur class, and I talked about, you know, my side hustle and my YouTube channel. And there were these boys, you know, that kind of like, they're too cool for school. They had their hoods up, they had their AirPods in, and they're like,
"Oh, you have a YouTube channel? Like, how many subscribers do you have?"
And I told them, and they were like,
"Respect. You a legend for that one, fam."
"Oh, that's pretty cool." And they're like, "What's your YouTube channel?" And I told them, and one of the kids went to it and he's like, "I'm not gonna subscribe, but that's pretty cool." He's like, "I'll check you out every once in a while." And I was like, "That's fine. I don't want you to subscribe if you're not gonna watch, because did you know that if someone sees my thumbnail and they don't click on the video, it actually kind of hurts that video?" And so I didn't want these kids to subscribe and have my videos pop up on their feed and they just scroll right through it. So that was like a month or two ago. And I saw this kid randomly. We were crossing each other in the hallway and he was,
"Hey, how's your YouTube channel going?"
And I just thought it was so sweet that he wanted to follow up. And I was like, "It's going well. Thank you for asking." Just thought I'd share that little anecdote from my personal life, from my full-time job. But yeah, on this YouTube channel, I like to share my journey as a part-time reseller. And this video is no exception to that. This is a typical week of sales for me as a part-time reseller, someone putting in part-time hours to this reselling thing. So if you feel like you would enjoy following a part-time reseller's journey, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I aspire to upload 2 to 3 videos a week. Lately it's been like 1 because it's been very busy at work, but I will get better about it, hopefully. So the first thing that sold for me on Monday, which was November 6th, was on Poshmark, and it was this pair of FitFlop black knit mesh comfort slip-on shoes. They were in a women's size 8.5. That's not like their official style name. That's just kind of every descriptive word that I could think of while looking at these shoes. They kind of reminded me of water shoes. Like if you want to go into the ocean, but you don't want to step on rocks or little pebbles in your bare feet, like you would wear something like this. I don't know if that's what it's meant for, but that's what it looked like. So I did think it was kind of silly that these sold in November, but that is one of the many reasons as to why you should list things year round. Like if the only thing you have in your house to list are swimsuits and it's the middle of the winter, still list them. You never know who's looking for what. People can buy stuff from all over the world if you're selling on platforms like eBay. So, you know, I didn't think that these would sell in November, but they did. They sold for $25. I had $4.50 into those from a local consignment store, and so my net profit on those FitFlop shoes was $15.50. FitFlop is definitely one of my bread and butter shoe brands. It's a brand that I discovered a few years ago, and it consistently does pretty well for me. This next pair of shoes that sold for me are not a bread and butter brand. I typically don't pick up this brand, but because of the style, I decided to try them out. They were a pair of Eddie Bauer brown leather ankle faux leather fur-lined lace-up boots in a women's size 9. So these sold for $25 as well. I had $4.29 into them from a garage sale, and so my net profit on those was $15.71. That's about how I thought that they would do, but I picked them up because, you know, I think I got them in October, and I assumed that they would sell in the winter months because these are great winter boots. These are great things to wear when you're outside in the cold, and I figured that they would be a quick flip, which is why I was willing to get them. Even if I knew my profit wasn't going to be super high, I knew it would sell pretty fast, and I was right. The next thing to sell was over on eBay. This was an old listing that finally sold, and there's nothing that feels better than that, I feel like. Well, I guess what feels better than that is when you get something and it sells right away. Like, that's the best feeling. But maybe like fourth best is selling something that you've had for a really long time. So it was this pair of Under Armour blue loose headgear athletic pants with a mesh lining. They were in a size small. These sold for $19.99. I had 80 cents into these from a huge bulk buy that I did like 3 years ago at this point. So that's what I mean. I've had these for a long time. It felt very good to say bye-bye to them. And my net profit on those was $16.80. And I am a firm believer that the only reason these sold is because I relisted them multiple times. But this time it took. I dropped the price to an appropriate amount, I guess, for someone to be like, yeah, I'll buy them at that price. And that's how I made the sale. So if you've got listings that you've had listed forever and ever and ever, and if you have not tried relisting those listings, please do. I think that you'll see some activity in those stale listings if you relist them. On Poshmark, they make it super easy. You can use their feature, which is, I don't even remember what it's called. It's this thing right here. You can use that to relist listings that have been listed for 60 days or longer. And on eBay, instead of just letting your listings relist automatically, I like to do something called end and sell similar, which means right before an item is about to just automatically relist, I will end the listing and then I will go ahead and sell a similar listing to that listing that I ended, which just means it's going to duplicate that ended listing. And in doing so, eBay sees it as a fresh new listing. It has a new listing ID, and I will oftentimes sell things that have been listed for months and months and months, and sometimes even years and years and years by trying those relisting techniques. So if you haven't tried it, please do, and let me know how they go for you. The next item to sell, okay, this I haven't had for a long time. It just felt like a long time because Cabby just feels like it sits for a long time, but I only have this listed for maybe half a year, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things is not horrible. It was this black and pink harmony. That was the style name. It was a floral short sleeve blouse in a size medium. This sold for $19.90. That was an offer that I sent out to watchers. I had $3.47 into it from a local consignment store during one of their birthday sales. This consignment store has 2 different locations, and they have a birthday sale once a year for each location, so actually 2 birthday sales a year, and they have just a great sale. It's a fill a bag sale. They always have really, really great stuff. This is not one of like the great things. This is an okay thing, but you know, for $3.47, I was like, sure, and I made a net profit of $12.23 on that. The last thing to sell this day was over on Mercari. This was kind of a silly sale, so maybe like half a year ago, maybe it wasn't even that long ago. On eBay, I sold something by the brand Tail. It's a golf brand, and it sold for like $40 or something like that. I think it was like a skort, like an athletic skort. Everyone was shocked. They're like, I can't believe that brand sold for that much. And I was feeling pretty cocky. I'm like, yeah, like you guys just didn't know. But it does. And I went to this local consignment store. They were having a sale. It's a different consignment store than the birthday sale consignment store. So I went to this consignment store, and they had 3 pairs of golf shorts by the brand Tail Tech all right next to each other. And I was only gonna have to pay $3.25 for each pair. So I was like, score, these are gonna go for $40 a piece, just like that last thing did. And I am going to continue to prove the internet wrong. So I got them for $3.25, brought them home, ran comps as I was listing them, and I was like, oh, so this is not the same thing as the last thing that I got. The last thing that sold for me, that Tail Skort, I don't think is the same as Tail Tech. And I don't actually know because I don't know anything about golf and golf brands. So if you actually know, please let us know in the comments. Tell me that I'm an idiot and tell me the real deal when it comes to this Tail brand. But there's Tail Tech, there's just Tail, I don't know. But this Tail Tech brand does not do very well. So I got 3 pairs of shorts, could only list them for like $20 a piece, and this pair sold for $14 on Mercari. So it was this pair of dark gray Bermuda golf shorts in a women's size 10. Basically, I have 2 more pairs of these in different colors that are essentially identical to this pair. They sold for $14. Like I said, I had $3.25 into them. So my net profit on those was $8.30. So do not go out of your way to pick up this brand, Tail Tech. Maybe there is a Tail brand that is worth more. Tail Tech, though, is not where it's at. But you know, regardless of some like rant sales and mainly bread and butter type sales, on this particular day, I sold items across 3 different platforms, and that's because of a Chrome extension that I use called List Perfectly. List Perfectly is something that I use every single day when I list, because when I list, I put everything into List Perfectly first so that I can attach a SKU to it, I can attach the shipping weight, I can put in the information regarding where I purchased the item, when I purchased the item, my cost of goods, all of that information, so that later when I I pull sales analytics from List Perfectly, it has all the pertinent information that it needs, but I will put all of my information into a listing on List Perfectly and then push it out from List Perfectly to the different platforms that I list on. And as a result, on this particular day, I sold items across 3 different platforms, which is really great because who knows if anyone on any other platform would have purchased these shorts by Tail Tech. If you want to try out List Perfectly yourself, I do have a coupon code. It is an affiliate link, which means I do get a little bit of a kickback for letting you know about List Perfectly, and that code is BECKYPARK. It allows you to save 30% on your first month of List Perfectly, and they have a great free trial period, so definitely just try it out, see if it's worth it for you to get yourself on another platform, get to cross-listing extremely quickly, and get the added benefits of things like sales analytics and all that jazz. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely check it out. On Tuesday, which was November 7th, I had 2 eBay sales. The first sale made me really happy, even though it was a super small sale. It only sold for $9.99, but it made me happy because it was something that my son used to wear, and I love the idea that I was passing it on to another family. So it was this shark outfit. It was a 2-piece outfit. The top was like a hoodie, and the bottom was just a pair of pull-on pants. I mean, I've had these listed forever. They were from when my son used to wear a size 1.5 to 2 years. It's like a toddler size. This is something that some girls from our church had purchased for him as a gift, and he looked so cute in this thing. Like, it was just so cute, and there was no brand name attached to it. It's probably something that they got on Amazon. It probably didn't cost very much to begin with, and that's why I think it was listed for so long. It was listed for like a minimum of 2 years, and it only sold for $9.99, but it just filled me with joy knowing that this was going to another home and that it was going to make another little kid who loves sharks really happy. And it actually sold to a viewer named Deborah. So Deborah, thank you so much. I hope whichever little one you purchased this for loves it and is wearing it all the time. Again, nothing brings me more joy than when I get to pass my kids' clothes on to other homes. Just knowing that those clothes continue to have life. Something about that just I love it. So my profit on that, because the shipping on this was a little bit more expensive than it needed to be. I don't know why, but my profit on that was $10.25. So Deborah, thank you again so much for your support. I appreciate you. The next sale on eBay was this Cole Haan brown genuine leather belt in a size 36. It had silver hardware, and apparently Cole Haan belts are just whatever. You know, Cole Haan is a pretty expensive brand retail, but more and more throughout the years, their resale value has just gone down quite a bit. So it's got to be somewhat special or super cheap for me to want to pick it up anymore. It just doesn't resell for a ton. But this sold for $13. I purchased it at a local thrift store for $2.99, and my net profit on that was $8.40. And then you guys, on Wednesday, which was November 8th, and on Thursday, which was November 9th, I had no sales, which, to be honest, as a part-time reseller, and even as someone who has over 1,000 active listings, that's kind of normal for me sometimes. Sometimes my life gets really busy. I'm not able to stay super consistent with listing, or sometimes I just don't want to. Like, I'd rather be doing other things. And so my sales will take a little bit of a nosedive. And for me, it's okay because this is part-time. It probably wouldn't be okay if I were doing this full-time. If my family was counting on just the income that I was earning from reselling, I would definitely have to be much more disciplined about reselling than I am, and I wouldn't be able to afford these $0 sales days. But because I'm part-time, I'm able to show myself grace and, you know, like, take a little bit of a break from listing or doing other things if I want to, so that I can focus on other things. By the way, I have said on this channel so many times that I'm going to try and take my health seriously and, like, don't ever do anything about it. But you guys would be so proud to know that I think this is like the second week now where almost every day I have woken up at 5:30 to work out before I go to work. And if I don't wake up in the morning to do it, I'll fit a workout in later. And during my lunch at school, because it's a little bit longer of a break, I'll eat my lunch and then I'll use the second half of lunch to take a walk and just like go outside and feel the sun and, you know, just move my body and stuff. And it's been really great. So don't be surprised if in like half a year you check back on my channel and I am shredded. Just kidding. I don't even know that my body is capable of getting shredded. But regardless, I'm doing it for my health, and that is one of the things I've been trying to focus on. So instead of staying up super late into the night to film or to list or to do all these things that I used to do, which honestly probably wasn't the best for my health, I'm going to bed at a reasonable hour. I'm taking time away from, listing and doing some of these things to work out and to go on walks and things like that. I sound like a grandma when I talk about going on walks. But honestly, even just a couple of weeks in, I feel a lot better. I just feel like I have more energy. All that to say, sometimes I'm gonna have these $0 sales days. It is what it is. Moving on to Friday, which was November 10th. On Poshmark, I had what should have been a really great sale, but things went south real fast. So let me explain. I had somebody bundle together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items. I had someone bundle 8 items. Some of these pieces were pretty old pieces, so I was stoked, right? So they bundled 8 items. They sent me an offer, and the offer was not like the absolute worst. It wasn't like the best, but it could have been worse. So given that there were so many old listings in there, I just went ahead and accepted. Now here's the problem. One of the items that sold in this bundle had already sold on eBay, and I didn't catch that it had already sold on eBay, even though it had sold on eBay earlier that day. And what's even crazier about that is that the item that sold on 2 different platforms in one day was not like a hot item. It was not like a trending brand. It was none of those things. It was an item that had been sitting in my closet for a minimum of 4 months. And then it went and sold on 2 different platforms within hours of each other on the same day. Like, what are the odds? It was so frustrating. It was just so bizarre. And because the other platform that it had sold on was eBay, I was not going to cancel the sale on that platform because that platform has strong penalties for sellers who are canceling sales because of situations like this. Like, if it's because the buyer asked you to cancel, eBay's not going to penalize you for that. But if it's because you no longer have that item in stock or because it's damaged, you better believe that your account is going to be affected. And so I had to reach out to the buyer and let them know it happened. And what I told them was, hey, Poshmark is doing this new thing where I can offer you a partial discount. Okay, so you just heard me use the term partial discount, but what I meant to say and what I will continue to mean to say is partial refund. So whenever you hear partial discount, think partial refund. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you a discount for the amount that you paid for this dress. And I calculated like how much she ended up paying for that particular item given the bundle price. And I was like, I can send you a partial discount in that amount. And she was like, okay, let's do that. So we reached out to Poshmark, let them know kind of what was going on. And they were like, okay, so once she gets the bundle, she can open a case and then we'll give you the option to send her a partial refund. I didn't know that you had to like jump through all these hoops in order to be able to offer someone a partial refund. Also, like, I was never like super excited about this feature, but in this instance, it was exactly what I wanted. It was exactly what I needed. So I'm glad that they have it, but I guess it's still in beta, and that's why it's not just readily available for just anyone. You have to request it, and then Poshmark will open up the ability for you to send a partial refund. So not only did I send a refund on that item, which is fine, even though like I did end up eating a little bit more money in that case because the fees are calculated with that item in mind, right? So I paid more in fees than I needed to Poshmark, but that's fine. It was my mistake. I should have deleted it from Poshmark as soon as it sold on eBay, and I didn't, so that's my bad. But not only that, even though it went from 8 items in this bundle to 7 items in this bundle, these were some pretty big and heavy pieces, but it came to 10 friggin' pounds. Now, another new feature that Poshmark talked about at PoshFest was the ability to take a bundle and create 2 shipping labels for it within that bundle feature. I was looking everywhere for it, and I was like searching the web, and what I learned is that this is coming. It's not here yet. How amazing would that have been if I could have taken this bundle and I could have told Poshmark, hey, I'm cutting this into 2, I'll pay for that second label Even though I don't really want to have to do that, I would love for Poshmark to make it an option of like you pay for it or you get the buyer to pay for it. I was like, I would love to even pay for that second label, but I couldn't find the option anywhere because it doesn't exist. And I also didn't want to reach out to the buyer and be like, hey, I already messed up your order because I don't have one of the items that you wanted, but do you mind if I cancel the order and we break it up into 2 bundles and blah, blah, blah. Like, this lady was probably already so sick of me, so I just sucked it up. I purchased the upgraded shipping label that was like, how much extra was it? It was $20.38 extra to get this upgraded shipping label. So let me just tell you everything that was in it, and then let me tell you how little money I made on each item because of all these things. So, the first thing to sell was this Icelandic design red wool floral full zip sweater in a size medium. This was actually something that I got from a reseller who had been reselling for about a year and realized that she did not enjoy reselling clothing. And so she reached out and asked if I would be willing to buy all of her clothing inventory off of her. Obviously, I said yes because I'm talking about an item that I bought off of her. And it came out to about $2 per item. So when I tell you how much all the items sold for in this bundle, that's going to include like the discounted bundle price, you know what I mean? So like this originally I had listed for $40, but it actually ended up selling for $26.57 when you take into account the discount from that bundle price. And then to figure out the shipping discount per item, I took that horrendously high upgraded shipping label amount, divided it by the number of items that I sold to this woman, and I, added that as an extra cost for each transaction. So once you factor in the discounted shipping, once you factor in the cost of goods, my profit on that sweater was $16.86, which isn't awful, but it gets worse. The next sale was this pair of Keen brown leather Mary Jane casual Cascade shoes in a size 9. These I got at a garage sale in September during Labor Day weekend. I talk about this garage sale and just this person all the time, but there is someone who will come visit her mother's home in the town where my school is, where I teach, and she has garage sales there to get rid of stuff that she's purchased to resell that is not vintage. She's decided that she really wants to focus on selling vintage clothing, and so she brings anything that she purchased that's not vintage, that she just has no interest in reselling, to this garage sale. And now that she and I have made this connection, and now that I know like that's what she's doing, she often lets me come first to see what it is that she has and kind of call dibs on things. Dibs. And purchase things at price, which is really great. I did just go to the garage sale this time because I didn't have time to see her and go through her clothes before the garage sale itself. So I had $4.77 into these. Now, given the discounted bundle price, these ended up selling for around $16.57, and my net profit after shipping and fees and cost of goods was $4.09. It gets worse. The next thing to sell was this pair of J. Jill brown linen blend stretch pull-on pants in a size medium. This sold for basically around $11.57. I had $1.11 into these from that birthday sale like I told you about, except I went like later on in the sale, so everything was even cheaper. That's why I was able to get these for $1.11, which is great because if I had paid more for these, I would have been in the negatives with this particular item because my net profit on that was about $2.75. Believe it or not, it gets worse. Not yet though. This next item actually did okay. The next item was this Talbot's green merino wool blend button-up sweater jacket in a size large. You know I love my Talbots. This sold for a discounted price of $26.57. I had $3 into that from a Plato's Closet. Like, Plato's actually explicitly came out and had little like pieces of paper that you could take with you once you were like leaving the store, whether you had sold there or were purchasing stuff, and they were like, here are brands that we are just no longer accepting, and Talbot's was one of them. I'm always so surprised when I see Talbot's there, and more often than not I will pick it up because it's on clearance, because kids shopping at Plato's Closet are not trying to pick up Talbot's. But I had $3 into this during one of their clearance sales, and my net profit on that was $15.86. The next thing to sell was another pair of Keen shoes. This was the Harvest Floral Mixed Print Mary Jane shoes in a size 9. I mean, this is my second pair of Keens. There were all these like big bulky sweaters. You can see why this bundle was so heavy. These I got at a pop-up consignment sale, and I paid $7.50 for them. That was my average cost of goods for that particular day of shopping at this sale. These sold for a discounted price of $21.57. My net profit on those was $6.36, which for a pair of Keens is pretty sad. Keen is definitely one of my favorite shoe bread and butter brands, but it did not serve me well in this bundle. The next thing to sell was this new in the box, like fully sealed Melissa and Doug Fun and Fairy Tales wooden stamp set from Toys R Us. It was princess themed, and it was something that I got for free from someone at my church. She had a garage sale, and there were all these like games and toys, and she was like, just give these to your kids. And I just took whatever she handed me. Some of the things I did give to my kids, but my kids were both like they were just never really stamping kids. I don't know. And so I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and list this then because it's brand new. I lost money on that. And I guess I didn't lose money because it's not like I had anything into it. But because of like the discounted price, it sold for $4.57. I had a shipping discount on it. I lost money. That was the worst one, but there's one more that's still pretty bad. The last thing to sell was this Eileen Fisher gray and white 100% organic linen dress in a size petite small. If I remember correctly, this one did have like a little hole on the back, which I made abundantly clear in the pictures and in the listing description and all that stuff. This sold for a discounted price of $11.57. I had $2 into it from a local consignment store, like sidewalk sale, and so I made a net profit of $1.86 on that. So 7 items sold, and then I have all these numbers written down, and I don't really know what anything is, but essentially what you need to know is that the bundle sold for $154. That's when there were 8 items in the bundle. I had to give a discount. I think the discount was in the amount of like $26 or something like that. I had to pay to upgrade my shipping label, and I had to pay fees. So when all was said and done, the amount of profit that I made on that bundle, the amount that went into my bank account from that $154 was only $50.62. I made less than $10 of profit average on each item. That was rough. So what I am learning from this is Poshmark's multi-label feature, that cannot come out fast enough. I need that here yesterday because I would have loved to have used that on November 10th. It's a shame that I could not because I lost so much money on this bundle sale. Just lots of things went wrong there. So the next sale that we'll talk about was over on eBay. It was this pair of Mizuno men's 9 spike franchise 6 low cleats in a size 8.5. This experience and many others with Mizuno has just made me never want to sell Mizuno again. It sits forever. It does not sell for a lot. It's just not the best brand. I think they like do a lot of like specialty volleyball shoes and probably other shoes. I don't know what it is. It just does not do well. I'm not going to pick it up anymore. But these sold for $15.55. I had nothing into them apparently. I don't know where these came from, but I made a net profit of $11.62. They just sat, however, for forever, not picking up this brand. The next thing to sell was a bundle on eBay, which doesn't happen very often. And this is a repeat buyer. This is someone who has purchased from me before. And she was like, hey, I'm gonna purchase these 2 items and I am expecting to get some money back for shipping because each item had flat rate shipping of $8.30 on it because if these items sold by themselves, I was gonna ship them out in a padded flat rate envelope since they were each over £1. But because she knew I could combine both items into one package, she knew that shipping should be a lot cheaper, and I was able to refund her a good amount for shipping. I think I was able to refund her like $8 or something like that. So the 2 pieces, one of them was that Matilda Jane piece that caused the initial debacle with that Poshmark bundle, but it was this Matilda Jane Ariana red paisley long sleeve belted dress in a size medium. Is it pretty? Yes. Did it need to sell 2 times? times in one day. Absolutely not. That was just mean of the universe to do that to me. But this sold for $20 on eBay. I had $3.47 into it from that birthday sale at that local consignment store. So my net profit on that dress was $12.28. And then the next piece was another Matilda Jane dress. It was this purple Queen of Hearts 3/4 sleeve dress in a size large. It was something that I purchased at that same birthday sale at the same consignment store. This one sold for $22.90. That was an offer that I sent her. And so I made a net profit of $14.91 on that. That was a frustrating day. And honestly, like shipping that huge bundle, just the most frustrating thing ever. Like finding a good box for it, I don't know. That bundle gave me a run for my money. Moving on to Saturday, which was November 11th. On Poshmark, I had a really great sale. And this is what I mean. I do feel like, generally speaking, in a typical week, I will have a lot of random bread and butter sales, lots of things that sell for like $25 or less. And then if I'm lucky, I have some that sell between that like $25 and $40 range. And then hopefully I have one or two sales sprinkled throughout the week that sell for like over $50. And this was the first of the week to do so for me. It was this pair of boots by the brand Peter Flowers. I have never heard of this brand before. I've never seen it before, and I've never seen it since picking it up this one time. It just looked like good quality. And it was made in Italy, which we know Italy is capable of making not good things, like it's not like everything they make is amazing, but a lot of times it's a sign that something is well made. And so I did a little bit of research into the brand Peter Flowers. I was not able to find very much, but the little that I was able to find showed that, it was a quality brand and that it could sell for decent money. I think I had it listed for around like $150 maybe, and I got a $100 offer on Poshmark, and I very happily and gladly accepted that offer. So it was this pair of green leather knee-high boots in a European size 38.5, which was like a US size 8. I thought it was very unique because of the color as well. You don't see a lot of boots in this green color, and for those reasons I decided to pick it up. Plus, I was able to pick it up at that birthday sale at the consignment store for $3.47. I saw these 2 weeks before at the same consignment store when they had things at like 60% off. And I was tempted to get them at that time, but they were still going to come out to like $16, $20, $25, which, had they sold for $100 would still give me a really good profit. But I was like, there's just not enough information about this brand for me to justify spending that much on it. And I just had a really good feeling that these would show up in their birthday sale because I didn't think other people in my town would purchase these for the amount that they were asking. Even though at 60% off, they were only asking, $16 to $20. So I just waited. And when I go to this birthday sale, the first section I always go to is shoes. And sure enough, these were waiting for me, and I was rewarded for my patience and for putting up with that bundle from the day before. So these sold for $100, and my net profit was $76.53 on that pair of boots. And that's when my faith in reselling was restored. The next thing to sell was a sale. It was this Abercrombie & Fitch striped button-down shirt. It was like a muscle fit shirt, and it was in a size small. That sold for $10. Now, it was given to me for free by my brother, and so my net profit on that was $7.05. That's one of those items that I have had for years. It has been listed forever, so I very happily let it go for $10 and took my money and ran. Over on eBay, I sold this Ralph Lauren fluorescent green full zip hooded vest in a size extra large. This is another item that I got at that birthday sale at the consignment store. I got a lot of pieces. If you want to see that haul, I will put it right here. This is when I know I'm going to be buying like around 50 to like 60 pieces because there's so much and it's so cheap. So I got a lot of stuff at that time. But this sold for $30 and my net profit on that was $22.27. The next thing to sell was this dress by the brand Alex Evenings. I don't typically pick up these like super fancy kind of dresses unless the brand name is really good because I don't know what it is about them. I just don't. But this was actually given to me by a coworker of mine. We're doing a consignment deal where if something of hers gives me a net profit of $25 or more, I will give her 50% of my profit. And if it gives me a profit of less than that, then I will give her 40%. So this was a stretched taffeta ruched cap sleeve dress in a size 4. I put the word cocktail in there because I feel like this is like a cocktail dress. You could wear it to like, one of those like business parties. Is that a thing? I don't know. We don't have those in the education world. But I just went ahead and accepted a $24 offer. I didn't see this selling for a whole lot, so I was like, sure. My net profit on that would have been $20, which was under that $25 threshold. So I gave her 40%, which is $8, and I made a profit of $12. The last day of sales that we'll talk about is Sunday, which is November 12th. I had another pretty good sale on Poshmark. It was this blank NYC brown suede 100% leather moto zip jacket in a size medium. This is something that I got for free from a super generous and amazing viewer named Becky. She reached out and was like, hey, I came across a bunch of jackets and just random things that I don't want to resell myself. I feel like they're pretty great quality. Do you want them? I'll ship them to you. And I was like, that's like asking me if I want to take a nap or if I want a chocolate chip cookie. Of course I want these things. Of course I want your free inventory. Yes, I will take it. She would not let me pay for shipping. She was just so amazing. And this was one of the pieces in that box. I love selling blank NYC moto jackets. That's what they're known for. And depending on the piece, you can make $50 to $100. This one sold for $50. I made a net profit of $40. Becky, thank you so much. You are amazing. And you helped me pay for half an hour of gymnastics for my kids. So thank you so much. The next thing to sell was this Gap Stephen Allen. Is that a collaboration? I don't know. If it is, it's a collaboration that no one cares about. But it was this grid pattern button-up shirt in a size medium. This was also from my brother. It sold for $15. My net profit on that was $12. Have I ever told you that I hate selling button-up shirts? They are my least favorite thing to sell, so I was very happy to see that go. The next thing to sell was this vintage Pendleton plaid authentic red Leslie tartan wool pencil skirt in a size 12. This item I was extremely happy to let go of, and I was kind of sad at how little it sold for. I think I had it listed for way too high. I probably had it listed for $50 or maybe $40 or I don't know. I think I did gradually start lowering the price, but I did initially have it priced really high because Pendleton is great. Vintage Pendleton can do great, but I guess not these kinds of pencil skirts. I got an offer of $15. And I just went ahead and accepted it because the truth is I have had this skirt for over 3 years. It's been a really long time. I got it in my first ever reseller buyout. There was a reseller local to me who wanted to get out of the reselling game so that she could focus more on her family, specifically her aging parents. And so I bought all of her inventory off of her and everything came out to $1.02 a piece. And so my net profit on that item was $11. I do feel like if I had waited more than the 3 years that I already waited, maybe I could have squeezed a few more dollars out of this, but I didn't feel like it was worth it. I just felt like it was time for this to go to its new home. And the last sale that we'll talk about is another Matilda Jane piece. This was the week of Matilda Jane, but it was this secret handshake hoodie, Moments with You. I don't know how many style names this thing has. I don't know, but it was a sweatshirt in a youth size 10. I actually got this at that consignment store that has the birthday sales, but I got this at full price for my daughter, thinking that she would find it just as darling as I did. She took one look at it and she's like, ew, I'm not gonna wear that. I was like, now we have a teenager. It's official. She was so disgusted by my fashion sense. She was like, why would you bring that into this house? So it sold for $25 on Poshmark. I did pay $13.99 for it at my local consignment store, so my profit was only $6.01. But at least I didn't lose money on that sweatshirt that my daughter hated and judged me for. So let's talk about my numbers. On Poshmark, I sold 15 items, and that was for a gross sales amount of $419. Once you factor in upgraded shipping labels and fees and sending partial refunds to people, that number drops a lot, and it drops to $282.05. My cost of goods for those 15 items was $47.63, and so my net profit for the week on Poshmark was $234.42. On eBay, I sold 9 items, and that was for a gross sales amount of $175.33. Once you factor in eBay's fees, that total drops to $155.92. I had $25.67 as my cost of goods for those 9 items, and so my net profit for the week on eBay was $130.25. I sold 1 item on Mercari for a gross sales amount of $14. Once you factor in Mercari's fees, that total drops to $11.55. I had $3.99 $8.25 as my cost of goods, and my net profit on Mercari was $8.30. So in total, my gross sales amount was $608.33 for the week. Once you factor in fees and shipping and all that good stuff, that total drops to $449.52. My cost of goods for those items was $76.55, and my net profit for those 25 items was $372.97. It was not my best week, it was not my worst week, it was a very typical week in the year of 2023. I would love it if in the year 2024, a typical week would be like $500 in net profit, and this would seem very low, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case, especially like I said, with me kind of trying to put a little bit more of my energy into my own health. And I don't know, like this year too, I feel like I've just been putting a lot more energy into my classroom and just like being a better teacher. It's not even like being a better teacher, but there have just been more projects and circumstances and general teacher things that have demanded more of my time than like in years past, which has been very interesting. But there's been a lot going on, and it's not like bad stuff. It's in fact a lot of really cool and exciting stuff, but it's just stuff that's taken up a lot of my time as the teacher. So yeah, my time and energy has been going a lot of different places. I'm still happy though to continue, making a little bit of money on the side for my family with reselling. It is, in my opinion, just one of the greatest side hustles. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little something. And if you did enjoy the video, I would so appreciate it if you would hit that like button in the corner, because that is one way that YouTube knows that this is a good video that they should be recommending to other people who are interested in the same topic as you. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Y'all are amazing. And please stay sane in this holiday season. Make sure that you're still taking time for yourself, taking care of yourself, because you can't do much for others if you are running on empty. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!